Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm well.
Nice.
It's
Um,
sunny outside. I'm feeling like
yeah.
inspired.
Nice. I gotta get another workout in with Ray at some point. I was just thinking about that. My workout buddy.
I know. He's resisting it, you know? I don't know what he's doing. I think I want it more than he does, right? So it's like,
That's the story of every trainer. They want it
yes.
more than the person
Yeah.
that we're working with.
Yeah.
Yes. Let alone
Yeah.
our spouses.
Yeah.
So,
I just got a phone call actually from a girlfriend who's like, so my husband she's like, do you think like you could work with him? I'm like, well, my friend Martin is a really great guy. He'd love to work with your husband. So I told her to get back to me, talk to him about it. I'm like, he has to want to do it because I just did the same thing. I just talked, I just tried to get my husband
yes.
to try and work out too.
Familiarity breeds contempt. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Let me
But,
see if I can
yes.
reposition this. I'm like precariously holding things in places. Like I know you've got your setup all nice. I'm sure it's all like organized.
No, it's like now 3-year-old ring light that is like seen better days.
I know these setups are ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. And then we have to be grateful too, because the reality is that like I've used it 5 days a week for like 2.5 years. So it's probably longer than the shelf life when it was made in China, right? So
Yeah, I mean you've gotten some value out of it,
I think so.
maybe.
Yeah. Yep. Um, so before you get into what you're talking about, I just have another reflection just kind of came up for me as I was thinking about like what we're talking about today. I have a project that I'm working on for someone. I can't say too much about the project, but it has forced me to go back and look at all of the conversations I've had with people, going through my catalog of 447 or something
Yeah.
conversations on YouTube, and just like I had to choose like 14 of them out of 400. Um, it's crazy some of the conversations that we've had, the people I talk with, the as Gina said on Friday, the deepening relationships that we've cultivated, right? Like
Yeah.
that's that's one of the central things I want to talk about today. And she used that line, deepening relationships, and she's always reaching out. Let's work out together. Let's do this. And some of those relationships, they kind of just like you have that one moment and it's done, and others are deepening relationships,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a moment of gratitude. I felt really just like heartful yesterday going through 400 of these chats to choose 12, which I think would be impactful, in a different way. But then just seeing the names of people I just kind of glossed over, and like, oh, I got to reach out to that person again. Oh, I got to touch base with them. And
Yeah.
then who are the people that I talk with like once a week? Who are the people that I have the phone number of? Who are the people that actually have been like just a chat and now they're actually friends, right? So
Yeah.
it's a moment of
Yeah.
gratitude for that. So
Yeah, I mean, I have my own podcast too, right? And
mhm.
I have, people like my one of my first guests was Alexa Idama on my
Mhm.
podcast. And we are always kind of like, just quick little messages back and forth. Like, you know, and it's been like 2 years now since not 2 years. It's been 2 years. I don't know what the timeline is anymore. I'm lost.
Yeah,
But, we have this ongoing relationship, and I don't have her phone number or anything, but it's consistent, and it's
yes,
someone who wasn't in my life, a little while ago.
right,
And I love, often these conversations are heartfelt, and you get into kind of some of these more difficult kinds of topics and conversations, and I feel like it's really a moment to be able to build foundations for future relationships. Absolutely. And
absolutely.
that makes complete sense to me. And it seems mind boggling that you would only be able to pick 12 or 14 or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I didn't. do a very good job at picking those. I'm just like after a while, I'm like, okay, that's a good point. Okay, that's good. Like I
Yeah.
you have to just let some things go, right?
Yeah,
So it
absolutely.
would have been paralyzing otherwise. But
Oh,
yeah,
impossible.
yeah. So your podcast, can you talk about your podcast for a second? Because I
Yeah.
love how diverse your guests are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did my undergrad in phys ed at U of T at University of Toronto, and that program is based on like, looking at every aspect of movement, like sociology, psychology, physiology, anatomy. We even got into philosophy. Like we got into all kind of areas
Mm,
of movement. And so when I was thinking about, what my podcast would look like, I was just reminiscing about that time in my life and how much I enjoyed that, being able to look at all the different perspectives of movement and how they impact our movement experience. And so that's what my
mhm,
podcast is about, is just bringing in people with different perspectives to chat about it. So I've had, researchers who I have had psychology of sport researchers. I've had a woman who does wonderful, wonderful work. It's a woman I was in school with who looks at diversity in movement and disability, which was really fascinating conversation,
mhm. Yeah.
and yeah, it just, yeah, that's the basis of mine. And of course, I
Yes.
I weave Pilates in always. There's always at least one or two Pilates episodes per season. And of
Yes.
course, I had you on, and that was a
Yes.
wonderful conversation. And it's one of the most popular ones that's been on. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, you don't know that. I haven't told you yet.
There you go. So what's been one of your takeaways? Like, I mean, I like how I have like lines like one big table or like so am I or there's certain like phrases that resonate. Has there been someone on that had something that was just a real like impactful moment for you?
Oh my gosh, so many.
I know there's so many, right? So like that's like I know that's kind of a tough question to answer.
I think, I had Jeanette Yee on.
Mhm.
She was, she's such an amazing woman. She also did my phys ed program in the same program as me, but she was a couple years ahead of me. And she was just talking about cesarean sections and how recovery from them, or it's like, you're recovering from major surgery and there's not a lot of
Yes.
support for women. And so she works with athletes recovering from cesarean sections, and like uh,
Mm,
um, and how she just wants to change like the whole dialogue around that, and to be able to
yes.
create a safer space for women to recover. um,
Good stuff.
yeah, so that was a really great episode that came out just beginning of January.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that. And she
Huh.
just like she's a powerful speaker, and
Yeah.
she really is passionate about her work and how she wants to change this messaging and wants to improve
Amazing.
quality of care.
Wow, that's fascinating because, like, for both of our boys, they're both C-sections, right? So seeing their mom go through that and being there firsthand, like naturally being a trainer, like you're suddenly all like I'm suddenly the expert on pre and postnatal
Yeah.
and C-sections, right? Like you just fall into it, right? Because
Yeah.
it's happening in your household. So yeah, I totally like all of that stuff. I'm like, yes, it's so true. I saw what mom went through at that time and just
Yeah.
the stigma around it and the recovery around it and the lack of support and the things and like by the
Yeah.
time she got to her second C-section how she hadn't healed from the first one even though it was 4 years had gone past, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah, craziness. Good for
Yeah.
her. I gotta listen to that one.
Yeah,
I gotta
you
send it
should.
along to her.
She's,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think one time I was on with you because like I seem to come on here fairly often, and
Yes.
I saw her pop on. So I don't
Okay.
know if she was popping on because of me or because she follows you. But anyways, you should connect with her because
Yeah, absolutely.
she's a good. Oh, my aunt Linda's on here. Hi, Linda. We have a
There you go.
class in 10 minutes, so I'm gonna have
Okay,
to pop
get
off.
it. Okay, so talk about your program. What's going on with it? Because
Yeah,
it
so
looks like
my
it's really
program
growing.
is, yeah, it's called the Pilates Curious Connection. I might change the name. But it's basically for women who are curious about Pilates, curious about connecting deeper into their bodies, and who are, are stomping through life with little body awareness. Um, and so what we do during 8 weeks is the 8-week program. And it's women who don't know a lot about Pilates, who are curious about it and who are beginners. And so we
Sorry,
are
I'm putting it in the chat. What's it called again? The Curious?
Pilates Curious Connection.
Okay, go for it.
So over the 8 weeks, we dive into a lot of the Franklin method. We learn how to connect into our bodies. We learn, we do some like really pointed work at the hips and the shoulders and the spine. And I think I'm switching things up this time, where we're going to be looking more, diving deeper into each of kind of the Pilates exercises, and I'm going to go through the Pilates repertoire. So,
Oh, fun.
so it's going to be a really rich experience where people are just going to be experiencing their bodies in completely new ways that they are unaccustomed to.
Nice.
And at the
That's
end,
great.
yeah, at the end, just feeling stronger, more aware, have a ton of tools that they can use to start feeling better, moving better all the time. So,
Hmm. I see an application for that with people like one of my clients, their wife, who is scared of, like, she sees the workouts I do with him and she's like, Martin's too tough for me. So I'm like, check out Christina. And I'm not going to be that tough. Obviously, we know how to address everyone, but like that is sometimes people's perception of that. Like,
yeah,
this is a good, insert them into this, give them a vocabulary and let them choose whether they continue in this modality or they find another one.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
stuff. All right. Okay, I know you gotta go. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for jumping on as always. I love having you
Aw,
just throw me over. So it's fun.
thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. So yes. So check that out. Follow Christina and just find out more about her programs. Maybe it will be a good fit for someone that you work with right now or a spouse of someone that you work with right now. And I'm putting in here to message Ray. Workout. There's this running joke that I am the not only the specialist with working with men and Pilates, but working with the spouses of Pilates instructors. For some reason, this becomes like he won't listen to me. Can you help? Sort of thing, and that becomes fun because the reality is they're all just good guys. So I just love doing it. And it's not like I'm trying to do anything special other than I would for any other guy, but it just becomes a funny thing that's happened over the past few years. So that being said, one of the things that we were just talking about, Christina and I, that came up as part of the conversation with Gina on Friday was deepening relationships. We're talking about how we're cultivating relationships and just being grateful for, in my case, the people that I've met. Let's see, Deborah Robbins is here, for example. Um, oh, hi, Janine. I didn't see Janine's there too. And there's a bunch of other guys in this Pilates space. Like there's only so many men that are doing Pilates, and between you and I think that I know every single black male Pilates instructor on the globe that uses social media. It just might be from uh, my guy in is he Botswana that I'm working on trying to get him on the show, to Kevin Lartigue, to Ed, to Brett Howard, to Chris Robinson, to John Claude Nelson, Martin Phils, Derek Fisher, Joshua Keith. Anyone else? You want to name someone else? Uh, Augie Doggy, dude in Seattle. Yeah, there's not that many of us out there deepening relationships. Norris, Arkeef, Yep, pretty much. So we're cultivating relationships, building relationships with these gentlemen, with these women, and just celebrating that. In the same way, Gina is doing that with her sisters in, what's the name of her group again? The Pilates Sisterhood, I think it is. And it's like, all these women are getting together and just throwing down these workouts. And there's no fanfare, no social media. It's just, let's just get together. Let's just build deeper relationships. Let's just help one another. Let's just do our thing. And she's doing a great job of doing that. So my question to you, if you want to put it in the chat, or for those of you who are watching this after, is who have you met in the last 2 years over this social media that you've collaborated with, that you built deeper relationships? Let's give a shout out to those who we built deeper relationships with, who was a total stranger prior to this lockdown and all this stuff. Like, I love my connection with Christina, who was just on here a minute ago, who I was on her podcast. She's been on my podcast. We live close enough together that we're probably going to connect at some point. Done some workouts. She's joined my classes. There is this connection. I mean, Younger just jumped in, doing some of his classes and learning from him and having him on. Like, we're building these connections and relationships. And I'm going to go another level with that too. But I just love to hear from you. Give a shout out to someone that you've met in the last 2 years who was a total stranger, who's now someone that you have a deeper relationship with. Whether you're collaborating on a new project together, or you've actually physically met them, hung out with them, done something other than just a direct message on Instagram. It's taken to another level. You have their phone number. I've WhatsApped some people, I've phoned some people, I've met with some people in real life, that sort of thing. Hey, Tammy, didn't see you came in. Tammy and I have had this conversation, right? Just about how she's grown and collaborated and worked on new projects and so many things happening at this time. So it's been good. So I met Sherry long before, but we connected properly during this pandemic and now giving a day's workshop together. Oh, amazing. Hi, Marcia. I haven't talked to you in a while too. Um, yeah, Sherry Long was fantastic. I loved having her on the show too. There is something, Sherry Long actually reminded me of, that's who it was. When Gina was on Friday, it did remind me of Sherry as well, where it's like, I'm just here, I'm in my space, I'm just getting better every day, loving movement, loving helping people move, and come one, come all. No frills, just good movement and good energy. Am I right? That's like, love that. Um, so yeah, so big fan. I definitely want to circle back to Sherry Long as well. That was a great conversation. Marcia, what's going on? What are you working on now? Chantel Lopez, that's right. She's doing some great work too. That's another. It's so funny. Yesterday was a moment of looking back and just remembering all these different people. Misty Lynn obviously is like my girl now. Like, we are so close. And Allison Limehouse, I haven't met her yet. I definitely need to find out more about her. I'm gonna screenshot that. Marcia, if you're free and want to join me on the screen, I'd love to say hi and hear what you're up to right now. Yes, Allie. Um, and So Marcia's saying teaching people to realign and repair their own bodies and growing health. Yeah, Marcia Polas, for those who don't know, also has a cranial sacral as another layer to the work that she does. So uh, the one of the most amazing thing that I discovered in doing these conversations, I went in, started these core conversations with the intent of learning the man or the woman behind the brand. So that when it comes down to advertising a program or what you do, private personal training classes, Pilates classes, group fitness classes, group Pilates, it helps when people understand who you are. They may sign up because of what you do, but they stay because of who you are. So let's fast track that who you are part by having a conversation. So these are never interviews, and in everyone's kind of preamble when we have these chats before they come on, I say it is a conversation, not an interview. Feel free to ask me questions as well. I'm an open book, blah, blah, blah. Oh, hi, Michelle. And what's come out of that is instead of just having a conversation with people and just finding out, like, what you do, where you live, when did you learn, it's been like, I have this specialty and I have this niche and I have this passion. I see these people in this way and I have a connection with these people. And the conversations have been rich, and I have never in my wildest dreams realized or imagined that there are these many different offshoots and branches within Pilates or within movement. I had to start calling it movement. I changed my business card to movement specialist because Pilates didn't capture it. Personal trainer didn't catch it. Sport conditioning specialist didn't capture all that I was doing, plus all this work like Tammy and her trauma informed stuff. Like, there's so many layers to the mental health component as well. And with my background having a counseling degree, that ties into as well. So I thought movement would just be a catch-all. I'm a movement specialist. So for all of you out there that have different niches, lean into your niche, find your craft there and run with that, because like no one else is doing exactly what you're doing. There's 6 people plus who are in the chat right now, and all 6 of us could teach a basic mat Pilates classical repertoire, and it would be 6 different experiences because of the way we see things, the way that we say things, the things that we look for in the body that's in front of us. I say lean into that. I say be you completely with that. And that's what makes us all special, because there's enough people to go around that we don't have to be all things to all people. We don't have to try and accommodate people. We don't have to sacrifice who we are at our core to get someone else in the room. I can be me 100%, and I'll have more than enough business to take care of myself, and so will you. So that's kind of the way I look at it. Marcia, are you good to go? I've just been singing and dancing while I'm waiting for you to join me. I'm going to invite you now. If you're not ready, it'll decline, and I'll just keep talking. And the Pilates pod. What's going on, Michelle? She declined. Oh, what does my mug say? My mug says dad goals on both sides. It's a Father's Day gift back in the day for my kids. And I think I've preached a sermon on it before. Dad goals is interesting because I think over the years, the definition of success as a dad has changed from earning money to being present. And I think that people are catching that. When is the next blind date event? That's a good question. I haven't done one in a while. I think people are getting busy and kind of like leaning into the new world. So I think it is time to do another one. But to nail down a date has become more and more difficult as people in the US, people in the UK, and people in Australia are all, the people that we're connecting with. So just trying to find a catch-all time has been the challenge. But that being said, I miss those because that was really fun. What Em is talking about is the speed networking or speed dating thing. Maybe with the new season, that's a good excuse to do it. Networking, maybe in April. Those are super fun. Yes, the blind date. So it's a speed networking event. And yeah, maybe I'll do it in April. Hi, Kenley. Okay, Marcia, I'm going to invite you in again, see if that works. And yeah, we definitely need to do that. Like those connections are super fun, and I love just hearing what people are doing and the mentoring component of it, finding someone that you can connect with and collaborate with. That's all good stuff. I'm hoping that Marcia is able to jump in right now, but what I wanted to talk about today is around this new season that we're in. And also, yes,
Hi, friend.
how are you?
Well, I wasn't dressed, so I had to put some clothes on.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. It might up our
and then,
ratings, but
and then
you never know.
you know,
Yeah.
my new joke is I turned 55 this year,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, I turned 55 in January, and um, I don't know if you know that I've never been married. I don't have kids. And so I've been joking that spinster is the new chic, spinster is the new black. I'm not sure that I mean it's a Pilates body, so it's a great body, but I'm not sure that your ratings really need um naked spinsters. I don't know. Ah,
Okay.
I think you have a lot more to say than that. How are you?
I'm doing well. Oh, so good to see you.
I
So
know I'm
I
still exactly the same.
yeah, as am I, except for maybe a few more of these wisdom grays. But so I guess are you back on like Broadway and just like helping out behind like backstage and some of the things you were doing before,
Not
or
backstage at all. No,
no
not
way?
not behind. Well, because of COVID. So COVID rules.
Yes.
I'm not inside any of the theaters. I am working. I have a couple of people that I'm working with who are back on stage, but really the last, I guess it was, how long has it been? It was December. I guess it was right around the last time that we spoke, or maybe after that. It was after that, about a year ago, a year and a half ago. I launched the next phase of my retainer program, or I really launched my retainer program, which
Okay.
is primarily virtual. Everybody has to begin virtually. And eventually I started seeing a couple of people in person, and I'm really keep it limited. I sort of think of it still as a bubble, and everybody has to sort of live by the same principles relative to what are we calling it now? Epidemic, the epidemic. I think it might
Mhm.
still be a pandemic, but it's just me, semantics.
Yeah.
But so everybody has to live by kind of the same rules. I need to be further away from me. Sorry. and 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 everybody begins virtually because I realized that my virtual program, my people were having more success almost than all the years of me
Hmm.
teaching in person. Because if you don't have my hands to fix your bunion, if you don't have my hands to reset your shoulder or get rid of your trapped tendon, and you have to learn from me how to do it yourself, you do your homework. You don't skip
Yes.
your homework in learning how to do it. You don't skip your
Hmm.
Pilates homework. You don't skip your breathing exercises because you can't say, oh, well, I missed it this week, but I'll make it, I'll see Marcia and she'll reset me and I'll start again.
Yes.
So they don't have the opportunity to start again. I have to tell you something funny. I've been meaning to send you a note.
Okay.
You and this podcast have had a really profound impact on my health. And the other thing
Really?
that I've been working on for the last year and a half now or so, um, I haven't talked about this a lot um, online, just a little bit, and I will more when we're complete, but I haven't talked about you related to this at all. Um, so our podcast, when we did our chat
Hmm.
that morning, I remember joking about how I put mascara on for you, which, by the way, today you didn't get makeup, but I did put clothes on just now. Oh, the changes, right? The things we care
Yes.
about versus like, oh, well, here it is.
Right.
Spinster, it's all in. Um, but I watched that, and I don't enjoy being on screen. It's not my thing.
Right.
It's not what gets me up in the morning. And
Right.
but I watched it, and I had been disturbed by something I had been seeing in the mirror. But when I watched the video, I couldn't look away from it, and I was really upset about it. And so it caused me it forced me, even though we were still here in deep in a pandemic, some of the medical offices were opening finally. And so it caused me to seek a new dentist because I was really concerned about something that was going on with my mouth. It didn't look right to me.
Mhm.
And it didn't look good to me. And um, my history is I've had celiac disease since birth, and I wasn't diagnosed until I was 40. And that's had an impact on a lot of things relative to, my wellness, my nutrition, all these things that can be kind of tracked back to how my world began.
Yes.
But I also have my mother's bite, and it was not able to be corrected with dentistry because I was told that my teeth would fall out if they tried to realign them. And you know that my whole world is realignment, right?
Hmm.
And it was the one piece of realignment that I couldn't do. And I was with my own cranial sacral. I felt like there was this piece of the puzzle that I just couldn't get to. That was to get sort of this segment to hold. I'm a little puffy this morning, but that's because of the next part. So that you had an impact on. So I ended up going to I found a new dentist. They were horrific, and I immediately went running for someone else. And I found basically the best periodontic team in North America.
Wow.
Geniuses, innovators, kind, um, great on every possible front. The gentleman's the lead, the person who founded this, his name's Dr. Jonathan Levine, and he is. I'll put it this way: he's the Joe Pilates, I think, of
Of
the
that
dental.
area
Like he
industry.
just,
Yeah.
yeah, he's innovative. He sees what can be. He doesn't believe in the word can't, etc. And he's created this team. And I have had 3 mouth surgeries since October a year ago. No, I'm sorry. I started with them October a year ago and had to go through a whole series of, I had root scaling and all kinds of other things, places you couldn't get to because of my alignment. So,
Yeah.
it goes back to anything else. We can strengthen a body, but if it's not in alignment, we're just reinforcing that, right? We can't get to the
Yes.
muscles that aren't able to work because something else is in their way. It's the same
Right.
thing with your dental health, right? Your dental health is going to impact your heart health, your blood pressure, all these things. And
Right.
I was scared. And I walked in and he took me into his office and he said, we're going to take care of you. We're going to take care of this. There's no reason to be afraid. And we started out, I had full root scaling, which is not a lot of fun, but again, the best hygienist on the planet, Emmy. And then we found that I had bone loss. And this wasn't really surprising considering the fact that I was kind of malnourished as a child and a young adult because of the celiac disease, but also the bite and all these things that people have been telling me for years were not really the problem. And how often do we find that? Where somebody
Yes.
comes to us after being told there was nothing that they can do or whatever else forever. So I went and I just put myself into their hands, and I had the first one was where was it? It was here. I had a bone graft done in February 19th, a year ago. I looked like Jay
Wow.
Leno for a long period afterwards. And
Yeah.
also, it's an aggressive experience. So I also had a headache for about, I think, 14 weeks. 8 weeks later, I had a bone graft done here. Yeah. Liquids, by the way.
Yes.
Antibiotics, which I haven't been on in a decade or more, 2 decades. And then last summer, a new team member joined them. This combination surgeon in periodontry and ortho.
Okay.
He's an orthodontist and a periodontist and a general dentist and a young genius. And one of the Canadian, he's Canadian,
Hey,
and
nice.
and one of the kindest human beings I've ever met. And he did exactly the things that I do. He filmed me. He watched me speak. He took pictures of me and then went and studied them. And then he showed me a PowerPoint in my mouth, which I really will never get over. I told him I would have paid him to not do that, and came up with a plan. And I had then 2 more bone grafts there and there, and then he added bone this entire section of my mouth and this entire section of my mouth and tissue. So I have all new
What?
bones. All new bones. Made some. They do all of this mixing your blood with it too. It's fascinating. I mean, it's fascinating. It was a 7-hour surgery, which because I'm allergic to everything, I was awake for the whole time. And I learned a whole lot about how to maintain your alignment when your body's under that kind of pressure for that period of
Yes.
time. But they did this remarkable thing. Then they did this thing called aerating, which is like what you do with your lawn.
Yes.
And then this other little genius, Dr. Hamad, began my Invisalign. And so I am now on, tonight I put in what is it? Tray 14 of this last 21. I had 28 trays to begin with. So this is lucky tray number 42.
Okay.
But my entire mouth has been changed and realigned and put to a healthy bite and healthy teeth and no chance of disease or more loss since in the last year. Now, added to that, I had about 12 weeks where I only had liquids. So figure that one out.
Right.
And learning how to speak. I learned that because I had so much swelling after the last surgery up and through here, I couldn't cry for 12 weeks. I couldn't cry.
Yeah.
And you can't digest emotion if you can't emote.
Right.
Good emotion, bad emotion. It would start and then I just couldn't go anywhere with it. So that has really informed my practice. I've learned
Absolutely. I made
absolutely,
brave.
I mean,
Yeah.
crazy. I've learned that I absolutely was right about the link between, I mean, I knew I was right, but I knew we were right, but the link between my jaw swelling and what would happen to my cervical spine and the impact that would have on my pelvis over and over and over again.
Yes.
The impact now that my bite has had on changing what's going on in my face and the swelling on a regular. Now we're moving my teeth still every week, and so
Mhm.
I get a little inflammation and a little swelling pattern from, I'm an adolescent. At first, for a while I was both my own infant and toddler. teething
Yes.
toddler and
Yes.
adolescent all at the same time, going through braces. Yeah, so I was all three of those things in one little house, one little woman. But I really had to learn, like, and notice. I relearned how to. I taught myself how to chew again. I didn't know how to chew. I would send text messages once we were starting to really realign. I would send a text message and I would say, "Do you chew on both sides or just on one?" Like, it was the weirdest feeling, but the
Yeah.
feeling of how, how just our bite and those muscles impact our, our bones and connections, but then impact our spine all the way down and our ability to use our body, the compensation patterns. So
Yes.
I relearned how to speak. But all of this, in large part, is because of you. So I don't get headaches anymore. I mean, I had a headache. I had quite a headache after the first surgery. The last surgery, I had no headaches, which was really interesting. Um,
Yes.
but I couldn't cry, and I looked like Jiminy Glick, the Martin Short character.
Yes.
I was Jiminy Glick for a long period of time after the last surgery, which was kind of hilarious. So
And this is all from looking at yourself
I
during
was
a
watching,
conversation
and
and
I
just,
saw what was happening because of the setup that we're in. I
yes.
watched the video, and I could see when I spoke my bottom teeth. I was like, that's different and not
Yes.
right. And that doesn't look healthy. That doesn't look right. And I thought that there was something going on. But then I also thought, I've been alone. We've been in isolation for over a year. I was like, I've been in here alone
Mhm.
for like a year and masked when I'm outside.
Right.
Um, but learned, I've gotten further deeper into how people can resolve the changes and the things that are happening relative to masks. I'm really now involved in what's happening to bodies, um, with everything that we've been through in the last couple of years relative to TMJ and our
Yes.
necks and our faces and
Yes.
our ears and how that's impacting. But so
Right.
it's really added to my work and my practice, because everything that we have to learn for ourselves and about ourselves then is a lesson we can teach to someone else. And so
Absolutely.
I've now been hands-on, had months where I couldn't sleep more than 4 hours a night because of discomfort and pain. And so I've learned how to manage, like, how do you manage all of that? And where I thought I had empathy for
Wow.
clients and the ability to help them, it's grown a hundredfold. But also, I'm
Absolutely.
getting towards thriving in a way that I'm not. I've been afraid for 25 years about my mouth health because there was something that I couldn't do anything about it.
Yes.
And so, thank you, because I think everything about the timing allowed me to find this team who, just, they're innovators,
Yeah.
and they don't believe
Oh,
in can't. They find a way.
yeah.
Isn't that interesting? So that's
It's
so
fascinating.
it doesn't really have a whole lot to do with my practice, except it has everything to do with my practice.
Yes.
And so I was going to wait and tell you and show you once we're done, but it's going to be May, I think, when we are completely done. We hope, I
Yeah.
hope, May, because I'm
Yes.
over it. I need to tell you, at a year after, at February 19th, how long can we take anything, right? And
Right.
February 19th, which was exactly 1 year from the first surgery, I was
Mhm.
like, yeah, I'm done.
I'm over it. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's,
Be proud of yourself, as Tammy says. Yes, that's
you know what, I am. And I also paid
yes.
for it. And that's another, I can't even begin to tell you. And we know that we work one body at a time, and
Mhm.
our jobs are hourly, and we don't necessarily have, most of us don't have group insurance and all of those other things. And that was the other major accomplishment. I actually, a couple of weeks ago, paid off the last of my surgeries,
Great.
which is also,
Achievement.
you know, yeah. And you
Yeah.
add to all the things that we're all under all the time, and financial stress and everything
Hmm.
else. So that's what I've been doing for the last year. I've been working with lots of really wonderful bodies and clients um, who step in for 3 months to some of them a year,
Yes.
and we work 1 hour at a time, and we just make change, and they're learning how to be their own me, and they're thriving, and I'm learning how to be someone different thanks to my team. And
Wow. What a great
you
story, Marcia.
you created that. You made it so that I couldn't look, it's like, I'm going to get emotional, but we see things and we share things with people that they know something is
Yes.
going on, right?
Yes. Yes.
And um you made it so that, because I wanted to listen to our great back and forth, which this has not been a back and forth. I'm sorry for that, but this is about what you were creating, what you were doing. I
Yes.
couldn't look
Yes.
away and just ignore it anymore. And I was afraid. And it really also made me think about when people come to me,
Yes.
which I know they come to me when they're worried and when they're afraid. I know that. But
Hmm.
to feel it and to see me here and go, that's not right.
Yes.
That's not right. And I'm afraid and I need some help.
You have a
So,
whole new level of compassion, a whole brand new set of tools in your toolbox of lived experience and wisdom that you're bringing. That makes you so much richer now.
well, and just like what I have insisted with my clients, because of financials, because there aren't a lot of people who do the things that I do, um, and because we were still in a pandemic, I had to, like, I didn't have a choice. I couldn't just go and have somebody reel on my neck every
Right.
week. I couldn't just go and have somebody, you know, take care of these things for me in some fashion. I had to
Hmm.
figure it out. And honestly, within, I'm ridiculously interested now in dentistry and in mouth care and all of that,
Yes.
because I don't think that we're teaching those professionals how to guide their patients in the other things that are happening to their bodies. Like, I'd like
Right.
every orthodontist, every oral surgeon, every to have one of us in some fashion, a realignment person, a cranial
Yes.
sacral person, a fascial person on staff to be working with them. I'd like them also to all have acupuncturists,
Hmm.
because these are the things that are happening to our bodies while
Right.
we are dealing with our health in a different way. So,
That's a good thought.
yeah, it's an interesting idea, right? We should be
It is.
presenting, I think, at dental conferences as well. So now that we still have a almost difficult, impossible time getting into medical conferences, now I'm going to
Yeah.
add to it. Now we need to do dental too,
It's,
okay? All right, I'm
yes.
just giving somebody that challenge.
Yeah. Heard it here first. Let's see how that goes.
But
Amazing.
you are the person that I credit with, um, you know, forcing me to change, to step into this change that needed to happen.
Yes.
That
Amazing.
that everyone told me couldn't happen. So
Yeah.
that's the other thing. And so this is the
Amazing.
other thing. I mean, I couldn't smile initially. And once there was
Mhm.
enough swelling gone to smile, I wasn't allowed to. I wasn't allowed to emote after the last surgery. And
Yeah.
I couldn't. And then once there was enough swelling gone that I thought I could, I would walk down the street, because it was during the summer when we were not in masks outside, and I would go to
Mhm.
smile at someone. One of my friends finally said to me one day, I think you're smiling, but really you should just keep doing the mouth turn up with your mouth closed, because really what you're doing is grimacing. So
Oh,
what happens when
yeah.
we don't have control over those muscles? It's
Right.
really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
So also when somebody, walks down the street and gives you a look and you think that the look is, whatever, you don't
You
know
don't know their
what they're
story.
you don't know what their story, you don't know. I mean, we say we don't know what's going on, emotionally, what kind of day someone's had. We also
Mhm.
don't know what's going on physically with someone.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So, sometimes they just aren't capable of using those muscles, and it's our face as well.
Yeah. Marcia, we gotta I think it's time to have another full conversation because it's 11 and I have to
Well,
have to jump
I
off.
would love that, but I think we should
Yeah,
wait until after May when my
sure.
Invisalign is done, because then we can see, and then for my team too, and even for the
Yes.
cranial sacral, we can have side by side video,
Yeah,
and I'll put on
absolutely.
mascara again.
Oh, nice. Just for me?
Yeah.
I just there's so many comments that came through here, but just like overall, just a sense of just being proud of yourself, and just admiring the courage to go through that whole process. And I'm just honored that the conversation we've had and the moments we've had and just have been a
I
catalyst
mean,
for all these
the
changes.
conversation was so amazing. And I haven't been visiting you lately because I have clients almost every day. 10 o'clock is a prime time for me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So because the retainer program is going so well, um, it just so happened that this morning I finished something earlier, and am not starting clients until later. So yeah, I
Great.
was able to jump in. I was able to watch. So
Yeah, so great. So good to
I'm
have you on
grateful
again.
to you for the conversations you have with everyone, and I
Hmm.
am still paying attention, and I'm grateful for what you're continuing to do and create, but I'm also incredibly grateful for what you showed me about me.
Thank
So
you,
thank
Marcia.
you.
Yes. All right. Thanks so much.
Bye.
All right. I'll follow up with you later. Thanks so much. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today as well.